Hello and welcome to this week's Focus Friday. I'm Dan Mickle. Focus Friday is a weekly vlog focusing on having meaningful discussions in the coaching and educational spaces. This week I want to talk about the concept of bright spots and how we train and look at things that we're already doing well to make them better and how it affects our training methods. You know, traditionally as a coach or an educator, a lot of times we work in what we're not doing well, right? We have a game or we have an exam and we get the results back. And the first thing we do is we look at where we might be falling short. And then we take and game plan for the next week or the next practice or the next day. And typically that practice is going to focus on the areas that we did not perform well in. And I think we want to look at flipping that script a little bit. How about we start looking at the bright spots? Let's look at the things that we did well. And the reason I say that is, instead of trying to bring up the bottom bar, why not continue to raise the top bar? Why not continue to get good or great at the things we're already doing well to increase that gap with our competition or to increase those scores? For example, maybe you're coaching a basketball team and your perimeter shooting is lights out, but you're having a lot of problems with your short game, your layups, your free throws. You might spend the next week, next couple of practices just working on them because it's bringing down your overall win percentage or your shot percentage. But what if we actually took the time and increased our perimeter shooting, our outside game that we're already doing well to make it even better? And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to the bright spots. Too many times we're focusing on the negatives. Maybe in the classroom, we are trying to do arithmetic or some sort of grammar, and we continue to have problems in certain areas, but we excel in other areas. Maybe we're really, really good at division, but we're struggling with fractions. While we still continue to work on the fractions, we reinforce and get even better at the division. We're not completely separating. It's not like we're jettisoning and not doing what we need to work on. But the key is we're shifting that focus into what we do well and make it better, because that's going to improve our bottom line and push those bars up, right? It's going to raise our ceiling. We're taking what we're good at and getting better. And again, I think too many times it's really easy to look at where we're faltering at and what we're having issues with and automatically wanting to correct that. The other aspect of this whole concept is we've obviously gotten good at certain skills, so we need to look at how we've gotten good. Why does that bright spot work? You know, a lot of times you will see test results statewide, or you will see certain sports where a certain area of the state is really good at it. The demographics might be almost the same, but for some reason, this area is excelling at a specific area or a specific skill. And instead of looking at where we're faltering, why not look at how are they doing it? How are they getting it right? Instead of trying to change everything and redo everything that we're doing, let's look at who's doing it right and model off of that. Again, too many times we look at how we're doing it poorly and trying to fix that. This is broken, here's how I'm going to work on it, here's how I'm going to fix it, versus, hey, wait, it's working perfectly over here. How can I take that? And the same thing happens internally. We don't even have to look outside for it. If we go back to that basketball example, why are we so good at shooting at the perimeter versus everything else? Is it our technique? Is it how we're training at it? Is it the feedback that we're giving? You know, some areas that we train in, it's just really easy to give feedback or make adjustments, while other areas, it may be hard. In the world of volleyball, you may find it easier to work with your hitters than your setters. So your setters start to falter a little bit. Your hitters are being successful. So what can you do? We have to look at how you're training those hitters. Why are they so successful? Why are they taking your coaching so well? And how can you incorporate it with the other areas, with the setters, with the liberos, how you can bring that all up. Baseball, your bats are hot, right? But your gloves are cold. Why? A lot of times it could be something as simple as the players enjoy batting practice more than they like fielding practice. So it's not a technique thing, it's how we're actually training it. So we have to look at how can we make our fielding practice as exciting as fun as batting practice, for example. So instead of just focusing on how bad our gloves are, again, we turn to those bright spots and say, why is it working and how can I incorporate that? Those examples are around us all the time, but we fail to look at it. We get so frustrated with what is failing and not working and the desire and the need to fix it. We don't look at what's actually going right and how that can be a model, again, a bright spot of how we train and what we need to do. How do you put your spin on it? Look at your peers, reach out to your mentors, the other teams, the other clubs around you, the other teachers, and see what works for them and how you can incorporate that. Don't just focus on fixing the negative. Take from your bright spots and figure out how you can incorporate that in the other areas of how you're training. What works in A might and probably will work in B if you can figure out how to integrate it. Again, too many times we just go straight to that negative. I need to fix this. We got to get better. Instead, we can work on those bright spots and make our good great and raise the bar. We raise the top bar instead of worrying so much about the bottom bar. Continue to work on it and hope that bottom bar comes with it. But creating that gap at the top is what we really need to do. We want to excel. And to do that, we need to put a little bit more time and focus on what we're doing well. So my challenge to you, coaches and teachers, are look at what you're doing well right now. What's the best skill? What's the best area that you're working in? A, how can you make it better? How can you make that good area a great area? Secondly, how can you take how that's working and apply it to an area that maybe you're not succeeding at as well? See the difference? We're shifting to our positives and figuring out how to use our positives to bring up our negatives instead of just going straight to negatives and trying to fix it. Spend a little bit more time this week looking at your positives and how you can increase your positives. I'll take a 1% increase in my positive over 5% increase in my negatives, because it's going to be that positive that pushes us in the win column. Faster, quicker, better than that 5% on the negative. Again, I know how things get clipped and taken out of context. I'm not saying we ignore the negatives or the parts that we're struggling at. I'm just saying we need to focus more on the bright spots and the good things that we're good at and increasing that efficiency and make them even better a little bit more than we are. As a matter of fact, I would say I would focus on those a higher percentage, 60-40 split of the negative things. Still work on the negatives and try and get them better, but work on your good and make it great. All right, that's it for this Focus Friday. I'll see you next week. Peace, much love, don't suck, and remember our new hashtag for 2023, One Day One. Is it one day or is it day one? The decision is up to you and your players on what it is. See you all next week.